notifications about it.
Oh, wait, you're going to record this?
Yes. Yep. Just this once. Oh, and there is our loud reminder. All right. So thank you to everyone who is joining us via live stream. And thank you to all of you who have joined us here in person. These Thursday evening Zoom meetups are the public-facing part of the vidwheel Creator Network, which is, for all intents and purposes, a video support group where we use a separate closed social media network and e-learning platform to teach you how to use your gear, provide a community of other folks that are building their businesses through video, with opportunities to learn strategy, technique, and other video-related skills, and unlimited consulting to guide you on your video journey. So if you find any of that intriguing and you find what you hear tonight valuable, and you also want to grow your business through video, this just might be the group for you. So there is a link in the description of this YouTube stream where you can book a time if you'd like to chat about all of what we just talked about if you want to use video within your business. So with all that out of the way, I want to welcome everybody to the main presentation of this meeting, both here and on the live stream. Sorry, I goofed up my notes here. So this is live. So here we are.
That's the fun part about live.
If you like what you hear here and would like to join us for the next one, that meeting is on January 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be kicking off our January theme of opportunities and planning with a presentation by Michelle Forsyth. And it's called How to Stay Productive While Creating Video Content. The event info will be published on the vidwheel company page on LinkedIn under the events tab, and you can also find it in the description of this live stream. But this month is Video Sales Month on the network, and we're discussing that tonight. How to use video in your sales process. As I posted earlier this week on LinkedIn, a big part of sales is building rapport and trust. It's hard to do this with traditional ads. It's impossible to do this with those badly crafted automated messages that we all receive, but it's part of the program when you're using video in your sales process. It helps people get to know you somewhat, and helps them build some trust with you, just getting some face time, even if it's one-sided. So let's dive deeper into video sales. Garren is going to present to us tonight how to weaponize your video content. And I didn't write it down, Garren. See, my notes are garbage because I'm on vacation. So Garren, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to our group. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Awesome. I am going to spotlight you as requested, and we will roll. The floor is yours.
Okay, so I will try to keep this brief and try not to bore everybody. Some of this information, especially knowing this audience and how deep everybody here already is invested in video, may feel a little redundant in the very beginning, but it's all to set up the end point, which I think will be very valuable to all of you, and will add kind of a different angle to the way most video on social media is done, specifically and for sales. So let's hop over, drop the lower thirds. So the presentation is how to weaponize video to generate leads and close with continuity. And my presentation clicker is not working. There we go. So the agenda is going to be join team video. Everybody here is already on team video, so that's not a big concern, but I'm going to galvanize kind of that resolution in you to continue to latch yourself onto video. I'm going to talk about building your own ship, whether that's a pirate ship or a spaceship, it's up to you. We're going to talk about learning how to drive that ship for success, being intentional about how you use it, and then showing up to a first day for success. So how did sales used to be done, right? And if anybody's familiar with this movie, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, know the famous line, "Coffee's for closers." And this really, is a homage and pays homage to the heyday of, the Wall Street salesman with the, $10,000 suit, the Rolex, and pulling up in the lease Ferrari potentially. But that whole persona and physical presence is not available in the virtual world. Yet we all want to be able to portray that type of confidence and success in the way that we come across and people that we meet, and then in communications that we have. So enter virtual presence. And virtual presence is really about having the ability to authentically connect and lead with true influence without the luxury of the old way of selling. And so virtual presence is, a lot of what Deskrig and the kind of thought leadership that we try to bring to the table for the sales industry is bringing, more awareness to the importance of virtual presence and how important it is to show up in a way that's memorable and leaves your customer wanting to do business with you. So I'll move down here to the corner for the rest of the presentation. But the first part of this is about joining team video. And again, I'm going to skim through this because the end of this presentation is jam-packed full of stuff that I want to spend much more time talking about. But two things here. Video is the future of marketing, and it's the future of sales. Most marketing directors, at this point in 2020, 92% of marketing directors say video is an important part of their strategy. All of you all in here are in here for that reason, probably. It increases landing page conversion rates. It increases open rates in emails. It is extremely important, and customers make tons of buying decisions on video. Again, things that I know you're aware of. Second thing, again, video is also the future of sales. I thought this stat was interesting at the top, which video accounts for 75% of the world's internet traffic. And to me, what that says is video is the future of communication. We're not going to be, always picking up the phone and having these, there's going to be jokes in the future about how there used to be calls without video. Can you imagine kids saying that to you? Like, "Oh, you had a call without video?" Like, what? Are you serious? Right? That's the future that we're moving into, and it's getting here faster and faster. And so it is definitely a way for you to differentiate yourself within your sales cycle, within your industry, and you need to be using it on both sides of this equation, both sales and marketing. Now, building your pirate ship or your spaceship, whichever one you want. So the first thing I want to say about this is it's really important to architect a long-term solution. And everybody's been through this. I know you guys probably talk a lot about hardware, but having an intentional endpoint where you want to build to, and then not going through this process of piecemealing your desk together with trying this solution out that you think might work, and then having to go through ordering another one and using that one in the meantime. It makes way more sense to take a stop, really assess what your goals are in your virtual professionalism, because make no mistake about it, your desk workstation is your virtual commuter vehicle. It is how you to get to work. It is how people are going to ultimately see you for what you're able to provide them through that desk rig or that workstation. There's no reason not to have a high quality setup. It's between $1,000 and $3,000 to $5,000, $3,000 to $5,000 to get a fully brand new setup workstation that is designed for virtual working. And I use this analogy a lot, but when you go to the car dealership, you don't ask for a bunch of pieces to get your car. You ask for a car that's ready to drive. And so that's why we think it's so important to buy a setup from someone who really knows the intricacies of these ecosystems of hardwares that ultimately provide an experience. Because yeah, sure, you can run out, grab a capture card and a camera and plug that up, but then you run into this next problem, and then you run into this next problem, then you run into this next problem, and it becomes this endless journey to evolve this thing into the thing that you wanted it to be, which ultimately would look something more like this on your desk, rather than just a bunch of things that you've kind of dropped in place along the way. So we talk about architecting your solution, being really intentional about what you're building based upon what you want to achieve, and always look at it from that perspective. And the last thing I want to say on this slide is, green screens, lights, cameras, and microphones are the most critical components. So, you don't have to have, expensive desk or expensive keyboards or these other types of things, which leads me into the next slide, which is invest in sensory experiences. Talking about investment specifically, where should I invest my money? People ask me this all the time. If I had $500, and I wanted to improve my desk setup, I can't go ahead and do 5,000. It's just too much. 500. Where do I invest that money? And where you invest that money is in high quality sensory experiences. A cheap webcam, it makes you look cheap. It's perceived as cheap. And a cheap microphone makes you look and be perceived as cheap. Your sensory capture equipment, I talk about how it provides your audience with an experience spectrum. And this experience spectrum really is set on the pretense that we've all been watching television that is highly produced. And many YouTube creators, even now, it's highly produced. And there is a subconscious expectation for quality from these years of broadcasting. And so it's not like we as individuals don't already have this spectrum of experiences that we're used to seeing and then placing our a value on based upon the quality of that experience. And so when you think about investing money in something new and you don't want to take it all the way, spend it on cameras and microphones, because the cameras, the eyes of your audience, the microphones are the ears of your audience. And that is undoubtedly, if you're going to spend money where you should spend money. So you don't show up looking like this guy on your TV interview. When you finally land that big TV interview, you show up looking like this guy who looks like he's made for TV, maybe because that's where he works. So the last thing in building your ship is really about green screens. The green screen is the new office door. And that's the way we talk about it. It is a way for you to step into the metaverse, right? And it's funny that that's going on with Facebook now, because it really is about a sense of immersion. And green screens are your tool to provide a sense of digital immersion. It's not just for videographers. It's not just for recordings and Adobe Premiere and After Effects. It's for everyday on the ground business work. You can pick up a web around for $75 that goes from the office to the home office to the hotel room. So there's really no excuse to have the tool in your tool belt. And ultimately, it's what allows you to step up to the plate and provide an experience that gives you that sense of digital immersion. So when you show up to the meetings, you have these presentation and, more important, communication superpowers, because there is, make no mistake about it, there is power in me saying, hey, look at this guy, right? And me being able to be here with my content in context and bring much needed focus to areas of the screen where I want to be ultimately providing value to my customer. So the next thing I want to talk about is learning to leverage live studio softwares. And most of you probably know a lot about these already as well, but this is all about you've joined Team Video, you've made the jump, you've built your ship, you're ready to drive it now. And this is really all about productivity. These video tools are about productivity. And actually, I'm actually going to talk about this slide. When we go back to this one, I should have reordered these, but this is really all about the continuity standpoint of my presentation and talking about how the experience you provide in your commercial is awesome. But then you get on a call with a salesperson and you're like, oh man, this is just a regular person. You lose that oomph. And so when you create this web content and you've highly produced it, you spent all this time script writing, then you went out and edited it and got all the subtitles on top of it and all the poppy flashy movement, and you've got your brand elements, but then you show up on video call and it's just like every other video call you've ever seen. That doesn't provide a consistent experience. And you heightened that customer to get excited and be ready to hop on the video call and maybe see something exciting because that commercial was amazing. That content you made was amazing. So when you learn how to use tools like OBS and which I hate saying that in presentations, but they give you virtual superpowers. They give you the ability to communicate more effectively on video calls and also with your recordings as well. And so they provide a kind of a two birds with one stone, where you have all of these potential output types. You've got events you're going to show up to, live streams you want to put on, video calls you want to do, recordings, video emails. You have all these export mediums for video, and tools like OBS and allow you to produce those things in a more productive manner, in a faster time with less effort ultimately as well. So video doesn't have to be this big beast of a thing that you come up with, but you have to have the process in place first. And we're going to evolve on this topic further in the presentation. And I'm going to back up one slide to talk about this as well. But the point here is you want to create the consistent experience, and virtual cameras, which are the output method of OBS and are really a new concept. And they offer a huge opportunity to anybody looking to differentiate. So that's about video calls. About recordings though, OBS and allow you to pre-produce your content. And what that ultimately translates into you as a creator is more videos in less time. So you can either cover more ground than your competitor, which is what Garren and I do a lot. We put out, I put out 5 videos a week, right? Like that type of velocity is very difficult to maintain. And most people outside of their 30-day challenge can't maintain that type of velocity and content. And the reason I'm able to do that is because it takes no more than a script of 100, 200 words for me to make a 3-minute video with 0 post-production except for the subtitles. So the old way of doing productions is, you do a little bit of planning, you do some storyboarding, and then you do the video shooting, and then you spend all of your time in Adobe Premiere or, Final Cut Pro or whatever open source tool you use, Garren, which I can't condone. But the way that we do content is we will gather our creative assets. We will pre-produce those things in OBS. And then when we press record, we start talking. When we stop recording, we trim the front and the back off of it, and the video is ready to go because we've already used the elements. As an example, I can throw up my lower thirds on screen. This could be a pop-up for a promotion throughout my presentation or whatever that medium or a messaging that I would like to present and produce ultimately what ultimately needs to be. I can give that in the recording so I don't have to post-produce that. And it's a much easier thing for people who have never done video editing to learn how to pre-produce with OBS because it's a one-time setup and then you just use it. So it doesn't take the ins and outs of, how do I trim? How do I clip? How do I crop? How do I do all these things? It's more of showing up in the booth, pressing record and going. And you can produce video after video. So, and that's the kind of the next thing that we're going to talk about is making those videos and how we're able to produce a high velocity of high quality videos with the tools that we've talked about up until now and with the technique that I'm going to move into now. And so be intentional about your video making. I was preaching about this with Neil just a minute ago, but music artists, they produce albums, not singles. And why do they do that? Or why do TV shows have series, right? That sometimes get canceled and we all hate that, but right, that they're organized in a specific way. And why is that? Right? Well, it's a lot of things. It's predictability, it's reliability. It gives people a way to connect to a specific type of content over and over and over because it resonated with them, obviously, the first time, right? Artists create albums because it accumulates into a body of work. Don't get me wrong, everybody likes a good single, but we remember albums. And you, as a B2B content marketer trying to generate leads for your business, you want to be memorable. So every piece of content needs to have a specific purpose. And you probably thought, well, man, I thought I've been purposeful about that up until now. But if you look at all your videos, put them all in a folder and look at them all, do they accumulate into a body of work, right? Or are they one-off videos that do create value and you can share those things out? And those types of videos definitely have purpose. But in terms of a sales funnel, thinking about an enterprise end-to-end operationalization of video, it's really important to have it in a way that it's just like an assembly line. And one-off videos are hard to create in that way. So how do we do this at Deskrig? So we brainstormed a couple months ago after kind of a binge of doing one-off videos for a few months. Now I took, I was doing 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I got burnt out very quickly. It became hard to manage coming up with ideas. It was just like, I was like, oh man, my idea list is coming short. I've done all my favorite ones. Now I've gone through that second list and I've even popped in a couple of good ones along the way. And now I'm running out of ideas. Like, this is not going to be manageable long time. And I went to a boot camp to teach me how to make this manageable in the first place. And I thought, man, I've not figured this out still. And because that is the hard part. Anybody can make one video. It's very difficult to make video after video after video and make it a habit. So in all of your sales processes, there are 3 general stages to sales: attract new customers, engage/close those leads, and then delight those customers on the back end that purchase from you. Okay. That's, you may have a more complex sales process, but it fits somewhere into those 3 general stages. So why are we not creating videos specifically for each stage of the process in the form of series? So that's kind of what we thought of. We were like, well, what do we see on social media? We see all these one-off videos. There's no congruency. There's no continuity between all of this content for one content creator. And then it's just like every week we just see a series of one-off videos. So why not organize our videos into series? And then it was like, okay, well, if we're going to organize into series, why not organize those series into goals for our business as well? So then we took those series and we said, hey, okay, what does that series do for our business? How does it help us accomplish a very specific goal? And then we started to organize those into the stages. And then it started to become easy all of a sudden to create more content because we had a very specific type of purpose that each one of these contents needed to be made for. And it fit under some series category that also kind of strangely made it easier to create content as well. So let's take a look at some examples of what we've been able to do. And so the first series, again, going back to the original kind of flywheel, attract new people, close and engage those people, and then delight those. So the first thing I wanted to do every week, week over week on Monday, was attract new people to my page, to my world, to my ecosystem. And I don't want to attract just anybody, right? I want to attract the right amount of people, or the right type of people rather. So a couple of things that you're going to see that are consistent throughout my videos. Number one is that I have the series tag on the top of every one of the videos. That provides my predictability. Hey, as one of my customers, that every time you see 1 minute, one up, it's going to be the same type of stuff every week, every Monday. I've got my episode number, reliability. And the higher that number gets, really the more credibility that you have, I think, with people, because kind of subconsciously somebody's like, well, dang, he's on episode 34. Like, that's a lot of videos that they could go back in time if they liked this one, that they could dig into and potentially find value in. And so that provides a strange kind of subconscious sense of value when you have the episode number there. I always have my script name, and this is a typical title that most people have on their one-to-one videos. So obviously, you know, in this case, this video series is about a message of positivity that reaches a broad audience. So your mom might be willing to share this, right? This isn't going to be so business specific that it can't be generic to kids and anybody who might find value out of a message of positivity. And that also attracts the right people. You know, people that share this aren't the same people who are sharing, you know, doom scrolling and sharing hateful political content, for instance, right? They're people who are trying to uplift other people. They're people that I want to be around, and the people that I want to draw to my business to do business with, because they, you know, resonate with positive messaging. And so that's another thing. So this is, you know, it's generic content, but it's business focused with the goal of reach and audience growth, and trying to grow my audience with the people who align with my positive message. And I always put a call to action at the bottom of all my videos as well, like physically on the screen itself, so that the video holds that call to action and it's there visible throughout the video. And it also gives people kind of an idea of what question I might be posing to them or what lesson I might be teaching through that content. So it's an area that I can provide a message. The last thing I'll say about what we've tried to do a little differently than other people with the recordings is through OBS. Going back to earlier part of the presentation, we're able to do some unique things with the recording itself that don't have to happen in post-production. So you'll see that my video is just like I have right now, right? It's in this kind of like framing element with the drop shadow, the flat drop shadow graphic, which provides some depth and kind of gives it a TV-like feel, which is different than what a lot of other people are doing with the standard, you know, 16:9 with the 1-to-1 framing on top and the bottom. I tell everybody, mix that up. You don't have to do what I'm doing. Just do something different, because everybody does 1-to-1 the same exact way. And that's really low hanging fruit for anybody looking to differentiate with their content. So the second thing I do is Tactical Tuesday. Tactical Tuesday, also same exact thing, right? Same background style. Brand consistency starts to form here, is what you'll see. But I did something a little bit different. My background, it's a little more dynamic. It's not so flat, because this is all about my technical prowess. This gives me an ability to do two things. One, it shows off, I get to show my brain off and say, hey, look at some of the things I know how to do, some of the things I might be able to provide value to your business doing. And then it also teaches you a little snippet. This is standard content marketing stuff, edutainment. So this is pure edutainment. This is meant to ultimately convince somebody that they want to engage with me to help them solve a problem. So it's target audience focused, so it's not so generic. I don't want just anybody sharing this out, because it's not relevant to everybody. It starts to really hone my audience in. So day one, picked up some new audience members. Day two, those audience members, those 10 audience members, all of them saw Tactical Tuesday, and, you know, 5 of them were like, oh, you know, whatever. I'm not really into this kind of thing anyways. But 5 of them were like, wow, this is really good. Like, this was really helpful. I can use this in my everyday life. Okay, great. So the next thing is one more try at refining that audience a little bit more. And I do office toys, where I'm able to go into this desk cam mode, which is some reason broken at this moment in time. But I can go into there and I can show off different hardware products that I use in my everyday life. And it gets you the ability to get a little bit of my knowledge and skill set in hardware without having to engage my services. Again, still kind of taking you down a path. Like, the first step was more generic, because it was just tools from software. Maybe note-taking tools like Discord tutorials or Canva, all generic stuff. But this is starting to really tap into what I like to do and what my business likes to do, which is help people build their spaceship, right? So getting you a little more interested in little tools and gadgets that you may want to ultimately leverage to move forward. And again, following the same model. I've got predictability. I've got my series there. You know it. right? And again, you're like, man, every time I see one of Garren's videos, I know I can look in the top left-hand corner and I know what I'm looking at. I literally can tell exactly in a glance what Garren's going to teach me about today, what topic it's on. Yeah, so that's great. And again, call to action. And the last thing is creating trust. So this is kind of closing that cycle and doing, hopefully being able to help them really reach out from something like this. And so again, predictability, reliability through those things. And in this case, I use this series to build likability, share experiences that I've had as an entrepreneur to hopefully be able to connect and share my journey in a way that helps my audience connect more with me as an individual, and not maybe like Mondays have a similar format in the way that it's a monologue, but at the same time, it's different because this is very specific to my experiences as a founder. So other entrepreneurs, which are my target audience, will feel more akin to, liking me, for instance. So ultimately, kind of reviewing that week, I've attracted new people. I have, hopefully given them free value and engaged them in a way that brought them into believe that I'm a subject matter expert. And then today on Thursday on Entrepreneur's Journal, I hopefully will get them to like me, know and like me and trust me. And so after that person has gone through that sales cycle, and on Friday, they showed up to my live show and they saw me having an interview with somebody that was in my network that provided them value, they thought to themselves, man, I've really got to set up a call now. And so they went over to my LinkedIn page, and I have in my featured section, the very first square is the ability to book a meeting on my calendar. And I'm going to show up like it's a first date. And I took this saying from another great who's actually in the room, but you want to get out of the sea of sameness. You have done so much work up until this moment to make this call happen. And when you got into that call, it's so important that you impress them in that moment. 55% of first impressions are looks alone, based upon a Harvard study. And so you get those 10 seconds to set your personal trajectory marks in that person's mind, and your video is just the same as in person, as we all know. So invest in your video calls the way you invest in other parts of your marketing funnel. Think about the production of your video call. Make no mistake about it. A live call is a live stream. It's just a smaller audience. That's the only difference, right? You're still producing video. You're still creating an experience that someone else has to watch, right? Make it enjoyable for them. Produce it. Think through how it might be an enjoyable experience. And that may be really, really game-changing for your business. And last but not least, use every opportunity you can to differentiate from your competitors. So, most people show up to the call in the Sea of Sameness, and you want to be the person who shows up, like Neil said at the beginning of the call, and stands out. So with that, I will stop and take anybody's questions.
All right. So I'm going to remove Garren's spotlight here. We're not going to do anything too high tech. If anybody has a question, you can just raise your hand in your video feed, or just pipe up. As you know, if nobody has questions, I'll hit Garren with a question or a comment.
Yeah.
And we're just looking to round out the last 5 minutes here. So anybody, I'm going to give you all first dibs. No? All right, great. Then I get to talk. That's excellent. So Garren, first, I just wanted to say the predictability point is like a great one. The kind of idea that at a glance your audience knows what they're going to get from you is excellent, right? That's a huge thing. And then to have that tied to your funnel stages is even better. Like that's really well done. So here's my question tied to that. You brought up a few times in your presentation trust. Do you think that predictability and like just the idea that people kind of know what they're going to get from you helps build that overall trust, like more quickly than, I don't know, other methods of how you might get there.
Absolutely. 100%. I totally think that it's just this it's about top of mind awareness, right? We said, I think we said just like this in the beginning of the call, social media video and content creation, a lot is about being in front of the right person at the right time, because your immediate followers may not have a need for your services right now, but they may know somebody who does. And so always staying in top of mind. And when you do stay in the top of mind, I think you build trust because it shows consistency and commitment to something higher than just the job. Because you're not going to find somebody who hates their job making content unless they're forced to. And then you're really going to be able to tell they don't like doing it, right? So I think that the audience reads that, people, I think your audience, all audiences, they respect people who are willing to take that extra step, and they see you just because you're making video as a thought leader, not to mention the things that you're going to be teaching them and saying about it. So absolutely.
Excellent. And I'm going to give everyone else that knock anything loose for anybody one more shot. And if not, I think we're going to use this as a good transition to the end of our live stream here. Taking one more look at the feeds. All right. Well, Garren, thank you very much for that presentation. It was excellent. A lot of great info there. I hope it's appreciated by everybody on the live stream and with our replay as well. Thank you to all of you who did join us via the live stream. Again, don't miss the next meeting of the vidwheel Creator Network like this. It's on January 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're kicking off the monthly theme, Opportunities and Planning, with Michelle Forsyth. To all of you, have a good night and happy creating.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, and Merry Christmas. Love it.